Hello everyone, this is Ruth Marciniak and I will be giving a presentation on the MSc Fashion and Lifestyle Marketing, which is offered at GCU London. Okay, so I am the presenter. Just to give a little bit about my background, I'm a senior lecturer in the British School of Fashion, and I am based in London, on the London campus, which is referred to as GCU London. And my field of expertise is fashion, retailing, and digital marketing. I have worked at GCU London since 2012, so I have a good knowledge of the campus and also of the university. In terms of the programme I will be presenting, which is the MSc Fashion and Lifestyle Marketing, it was first introduced at GCU London in September 2018. The programme is actually developed from a Glasgow programme, which is currently offered in Glasgow, which is called the MSc International Fashion Marketing. This programme's been offered in Glasgow since 2001. So there's a lot of heritage, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience that has gone into the GCU London programme. But the GCU London programme acknowledges that, for example, many fashion retailers sell things beyond clothing, beyond things that we would call fashion. Within their stores, they have cafes, and they can sell other artifacts, gifts, for example, beauty products, and so forth. So it's a little bit broader. This is not just about clothing and fashion, and I will explain this as I go through the lecture, my presentation. So why have we called it fashion and lifestyle? What I can say, it's the world's first master's degree in fashion and lifestyle marketing. So we are very proud to have that honour. If we think about what marketing is about bringing products to the marketplace, food products, clothing products, beauty products, furniture products. And if you have ever done marketing before, often a key thing about marketing is the 4 Ps: price, place, promotion, and product. To do this effectively, the marketer needs to understand consumer interests. What makes them tick? What are their values? What are their opinions? What are their ideas? And basically, what kind of lifestyles do they lead? What kind of lifestyles do they want to lead? So aspirational. What do they want to lead? What do they currently lead? And this is what lifestyle marketing is all about. So long gone are the days when a fashion retailer would put a t-shirt into the store. It's got an attractive branded logo, has a promotional strapline, there's advertising to support it, about the benefits and the qualities of the actual product. Marketing is so much more than this. It's much getting into the head, the lifestyle, the experiences of the consumer. Marketing has developed a lot as a subject area. So successful lifestyle marketing, it gives meaning and it gives purpose to why a product exists. It's not just a product for a product's sake, but it's actually why this exists and how the consumer will experience it. So what I'm saying is products need to appeal to particular lifestyles. So it's not just a t-shirt, as I said, it's got to appeal to a particular lifestyle. And within that lifestyle, we don't just wear clothing, we eat, we travel, we play sports, we socialize with friends. So it's understanding the whole concept of what what it is, who the individual is and what that individual wants. And as I said, modern fashion retailers do acknowledge this. They don't just sell products. They don't just sell, fashion products. They're selling a lifestyle. They're selling beauty. They're providing an area to socialize in, to have a coffee, to have a drink. Selfridges department store in London has a cinema in it. Selfridges department store also has a psychic in it. So you can go and get your fortune told. That appeals to a particular lifestyle group. And clever retailers, clever marketers acknowledge this and deliver it to consumers. It's also acknowledging that as marketers, you are not just selling products. You are also selling experience. So the experience of sitting in a cinema, the experience of eating your popcorn when you're sitting in this cinema, the experience of having your fortune told. So it's marketing from a much richer perspective. And that's what we have embraced within our program. So to give you some kind of insights, the kinds of issues that would be covered across the program would be embedded in lectures and discussed within seminars, in discussion groups, would be what academics are saying about marketing and what the practitioners are doing about marketing, the marketers themselves. So students may be presented with a problem, for example, which Instagram account speaks best to vintage clothing enthusiasts? In terms of ethical issues, ethical clothing, how would somebody grow and develop an ethical clothing business using influencer marketing? Because we know influencer marketing is very, very important now. And also storytelling around the product that matches a particular lifestyle. How to use it to promote goods and experiences to luxury lifestyle consumers. What do I mean by storytelling? If you just look at the image on this slide, the lady is wearing kind of, I would describe that as an evening dress. You would go to quite a posh, if I want to use that word, a posh event in that. She's kind of played it down with nice trainers. There's a story around that. And that's what marketers are putting together. That's the challenge that they have. There's a lifestyle around that image that's on the slide that I have at the moment. So these are all the kinds of issues that we deal with, we discuss, we problem solve across the program and across various modules within the program. Right, we can present a program to you. We can deliver the content that we think is relevant for you to work in the fashion and lifestyle industry. However, it's all about you. We give you the guidance, we give you the content, we give you the advice, but you embrace it. You take it on. We have a good reputation in the fashion industry. We have good industry links. But it's up to you, whilst you are a student, to develop your own relationships and capitalize on what we offer you. The links that we make for you, the content that we provide you, the knowledge that we are giving you, and pushing you to think creatively, to problem solve. So in my mind, the fact that you are listening and you're engaging with my presentation, you've already achieved one step to picking up on the industry, which I'm assuming you have a strong interest about, or you're developing an interest in. If you're looking to work within the industry, I advise you to get as much experience as you can. If you within that industry, and you can do this while you're studying. If you're an international student and you will have apply for a visa to whilst you're studying, which you need to have, you are allowed, the UK government allows you to work 20 hours per week. And a number of our students on our program do actually do that. So what they're doing is they're studying, they're building up their knowledge, but they're also their academic knowledge, but they're also building up their practitioner knowledge. Practitioner knowledge in terms of networks, best practice, and it works very well. So this isn't just about us delivering you content, providing you with links. This is also about you investing in yourself for your own future. We acknowledge that and we support that, but you also do the effort as well. The more you put in, the more you will get out of it. And I'm actually not just speaking for myself. This is this whole slide is a quote from a practitioner within the industry, Maggie Smart, who has guest lectured for us at GCU London. She's a brand strategy consultant, and she also is a partner in a UK clothing brand called Folk Clothing. Folk Clothing has a number of stores in London, and it also has its website where it sells online. So you might want to follow that up. Maggie's a great supporter to our program. And I can't stress more about advice for getting into the industry at this moment in time, coming out of the awful situation we are in at the moment with regards to coronavirus. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, unfortunately. It's going to be tough across all industries. More prepared you are, the more you're going to get out of the program, and the better you can give to an employer, and the more enjoyable experience you will have. Okay, so let's look at the program itself and the content of the program. The aim of the program is to explore the changing fashion industry, and it is changing, it's dynamic. At the moment, there's talks about or speculation about, fashion shows, fashion runway shows, the catwalk shows. They're old hat. It's not going to happen anymore in the future. They're very expensive to put on. It's quite an elitist activity. So things are changing, and it's our responsibility to keep up with those changes and find out what's happening. So the program aim is to explore the changing fashion industry and look at the integration of this concept of fashion and also lifestyle as well, that I've touched on just before. I think you will have already picked up, you as a student will have the chance to explore the theory in a practical setting. So we teach theory and we teach and encourage practice. One of the modules has a work experience embedded into it. We undertake some visits, we have guest speakers, and we also do some live projects as part of the program content. Who's the program for? Students who want specialist knowledge in all of these areas: branding, brand development, buying and merchandising, digital and social media, marketing communications, retailing and the retail experience, design and trend decisions, and also consumer behavior, understanding the consumer behavior better. So in terms of jobs, We see students leaving the programs, and indeed students who have already left the program, working within these areas. So they may be in a marketing department of an organization, could be a retail company, could be the brand manufacturer, and you're working in one of these particular areas. So you may be a buyer for a company or a merchandiser for the company. You may be working in marketing communications, working on working with influencers and developing relationships with influencers. You may be doing market research in terms of consumer behaviour and what their needs are. So there's quite a range of different opportunities as an output from the programme. Okay, getting through the programme. There's a lot of content on this slide, but I've put it this way because it gives you an idea of how the programme is structured. We actually have 2 intakes per year. We accept students in September, and we also accept students in January. If you join us in September of an academic year, the programme lasts for 12 months. And you join us in September. It's kind of the final week in September, and there's the week induction programme to help you ease into the programme beforehand. You have 12 weeks of teaching input, and we deliver that through lectures, through seminars. And within those 12 weeks, you have 4 modules. You go away, we have a break for Christmas. In January, you have what we call an assessment period. So there's a number of assessments we ask you to complete, and you submit those. And then at the end of January, you come in, you have another 12 weeks of teaching and another 4 modules. So that's how it's structured. And then you do, after April, you come in for what we call the 3rd trimester, and you undertake your research project, and that is submitted in August. So that's how it's structured in 12 months. They, as with other programmes within the UK, they're credit rated. And our programme for Masters is 180 credits, which again is standard within the UK. Each of those trimesters have equal weighting. So there's 60 credits for each of those trimesters. So that makes it 15 credits per module. If you join us in January, you actually join the the September students from the cohort that started in September. And it's almost like passing a baton. It works very well. So those students have eased themselves into the programme, and now a fresh new lot of students are joining, and they have experience and they're sharing experience with each other. So a January start student, that programme is over 18 months. So you have January to April, where you do your 4 modules. You then have a break till September, and students will undertake work experience during that period. They travel, they engage in a number of individual activities, and then they come back in September and they continue the course. And in that September, they will join the new group of students. So now you are the experienced students, and you are passing the baton. So it's all fresh, it's all nice, it's all very good, and it works very, very well. So deciding whether to join in September or January is a personal decision. My thinking when I was first introduced to this structure which is a common structure for Glasgow Caledonian University, how it runs its master's programs, was I thought the January starts, it's longer. They're going to be longer as a student, but feedback from the students is that it works very, very well. They like to have that break from the April to September. It gives them a chance to work within the industry in a full-time capacity. And get to know the industry, and it also gives them a chance to travel and be elsewhere. So they enjoy it, but this is an individual decision that people make. So that's kind of how the program is structured: the choice of a September start or a January start. Passing the program. So we always get questions about how is the program assessed? Are there any exams on the program? Which seems a very popular question that students ask. We actually have one exam, which we call a scene essay question. And that's, we will call that time-constrained piece of work. It's under a set period of time. So to give you an idea, here we've got, what I've done is just abbreviated the long module titles. So if you join in September, you have those 4 modules. And you can see at a glance there, if we look at the green block, the kind of workload that's expected of you. So I'm not going to add that up in my head. 6, 8, 9,500 words. Plus your group presentation and a scene essay question. So that's the kind of workload that you have. We put a timetable together for when assessments are due. So we try to spread those out as much as possible. That means, you don't have 2 assessments coming in on the same day. So we are very thoughtful, we're helpful, and we're supportive. You will see, if you look at January to April, there is quite a lot of group presentations to do. If we go back to the slide, the very final comment by Maggie, the quote from Maggie Smart, the practitioner within the industry, the quote that she used was, "Working in fashion is not a solo activity, it's a team activity." We acknowledge this. We see this as very, very important, and that's why we put in a good number of group presentations where you're working together, you're problem solving, you may be given a live project, and you'll see this group work is group presentations, as I said. You are presenting, you are pitching all these very important marketing skills that are required. So preparing you to work, to be more employable working within the industry, and matching the skill set of what the industry is looking for. Just one point before I move on, the CPPD, which is Career and Professional Practice Development. For that, you do a personal development plan, so how you see your future, and you do a 3-year career plan as well. So we're asking you to think about your future and your place within the industry. Where is it that you want to work? We have, within that module, that is where the work experience is. We ask you to do 60 hours of a work experience, and we don't give you the employer to work with. We don't link you up with a company. Again, this is about you, what you want, what skills you want to develop, and part of your personal development we see as you finding your own work experience. There's a whole range. We leave it very, very flexible, and there's a whole range of activities that you can do. Working within the charity sector, working as a volunteer, working in the commercial sector, with a company. We leave it very, very flexible. And within those 60 hours, we leave that flexible as well. I'm aware at in other programs, in other universities, often students may go and have a 3-week placement. So that is blocked off in their timetable. We don't do that at all. Again, you develop your 60 hours. So those 60 hours may be spent as weekend work, evening work, periods, days of the week where you're not timetabled. You may do your work experience during those, and that's often the case that what students will do. So that gives you some idea of the work experience. It's very flexible, and ideally it suits your needs. I mentioned the timetable. As far as possible, we timetable you over 3 days of the 5-day working week. So 2 of your days are free. And that's, as I said, that's often where students will work. There may be occasions where we ask you to come in for 4 days, for example, a guest lecture, because we have to work around busy people who are working within the industry. There may be events taking place, but as far as possible, we respect that you will wish to work, wish to build up your careers, so we try and timetable within the 3 days of the working week. How do you learn? I mentioned earlier that you undertake lectures and seminars. I'm sure some of you will be familiar with that structure. The lectures predominantly where somebody such as myself delivers the content, knowledge, like what I'm doing now, and it's a fairly passive. You are listening, you are taking in information. A number of students sit with their laptops open, so often when I mention things or I give examples, they will also be searching for things at the same time. That's what learning is about at the moment. So actually, when I say passive, students aren't as passive as perhaps traditionally they would have been. And then the seminar structure is much more discursive, much more interactive, where we have a discussion, activities to do, and so forth. So that is the kind of structure we have. We have a tool which we call GCU Learn, which is what I've shown on this slide. The backbone to that, some of you may be familiar from other universities and your previous experience or current experience, is Blackboard. It's not difficult to use. We use that as what we call a depository, which contains our lectures, seminar materials, journal articles, links to perhaps TED Talks, links to YouTube clips that explain things. So we try to draw on a wide range of learning materials, which we put into these folders for you. And recently, because of the current situation, we have also had our webinars in there as well. And you will see on the list on the left-hand side, we use Collaborate Ultra, it is called. And we interact with students through the chat in that piece of software. Again, you may currently have experience of that yourself. So that's generally how you will learn. You're not alone in your learning. That's me again. I am the program leader. My role as the program leader is looking after the academic health of the program. Are what we delivering what we said we would deliver in our module handbooks, and when we first had the program approved, what we call a validation progress. A validation process. So I see that it's healthy. Students are getting something from the content. They're engaging with the content. We have two program administrators. One of them is Valon, which is in the photograph here. He is the program administrator. He processes all the marks, processing you through the system. and he's so helpful. So helpful. And then we have Anne, who's an academic development tutor. Anne helps with academic writing, being basically everything involved in being a student in terms of your assessments and assessment support. Sometimes people think you go to Anne because you may have failed something, or you've got a mark that you thought you would have got a better mark in. Well, obviously, if that happens, you would go to the module tutor. You will be given feedback, but they will sit with you and they will explain. But also you have Anne. But Anne isn't just for that. You may be getting great marks, but you can also use Anne. We can always improve on what we are doing and in terms of being an academic. I have many discussions with Anne about undertaking research, putting research work together, and so forth. She is so helpful. We actually have two campus librarians, and I've just got a photograph of one, who is Ellen. So at GCU London, we have a library area where students come in and work. We have many of our journal articles are available to you that you can access from anywhere. Access virtually. We have ebooks, electronic books. So we've got the virtual library, but we've also got a physical library as well. A number of students like to work within the library. Some students prefer to work where they're living in their own home accommodation. It's up to you, but you've got that support there. There is also another lot of team of support. We've got Stefan, who's the student experience manager, Scarlett, who is in the student association. There's a whole army of us there gunning for you, supporting you, and helping you to achieve what you've come to GCU London to achieve and get your qualification. Exit awards. I explained before that we have credit points. At each of those credit points, there are awards. So 60 credit points gives you a postgraduate certificate, 120 a postgraduate diploma, 180 gives you masters. So if you remember what I said about the trimesters, actually each of the trimesters have 60 credits. So you could choose to come for one trimester, say from the September to December. You pass those 4 modules of 15 credits each, you get your 60 modules and you exit. We don't want you to do that. We want you to come and complete your masters. Sign up for what you will have been registered for, because you always register for a master's program. Students don't register for the certificate or for the diploma. It's only for the master's program. So come and do what you set out to do, what you've registered for, the masters. The other programs, the other exits awards, if other things are happening in your life. So they're kind of default, they're seen as default, but it's good to know that they're there. It's very good to know that they're there. The image on the right-hand side is 3 of our students who got their masters, looking very happy, of course, and delighted. They are 3 lovely students, and that is the colour of that you will wear when you do your masters. We are based in the East End of London, and we have our ceremonies in what is referred to as Spitalfields Church. Very, very beautiful church, and it's a very, very beautiful ceremony. Okay, that is all the content I have with regards to the programme. What I'm going to do now is spend the next 5-6 minutes just giving you a mini lecture, so you have got an insight into what's delivered, the manner in which it is delivered. So a little bit of what you would call a taster lecture. And it's actually on place branding. So you think, what's that got to do with fashion and lifestyle? It has a lot to do with fashion and lifestyle. Okay, so I'm going to start this mini lecture. So to give you an insight into the program, its content, its delivery, here is my mini lecture by Ruth Marciniak. So it's on place branding, as I said. So we think of places as, we think of brands as, say, Starbucks. We can see this coffee cup here. We don't need, Starbucks is a global brand. We don't need to read the word Starbucks. We can see from the logo of that mermaid that it is a brand. It's a brand. But just as a coffee or clothing can be a brand, places can be a brand as well. And branding has a lot of symbolism embedded into it. You may be aware that Starbucks has its roots in Seattle. The logo is a mermaid. There's roots there, heritage there with Seattle being on the coast. You can see in the image on the right, there is signs, symbols there that give it away that this is London. We've got the iconic shape of the taxi. We have the red London bus. And just to let you know, we also have the flag as well. We are in the UK. And I think many people would know that that is London because of these symbols, and also the kinds of buildings as well. Although possibly you could see those buildings in another city such as Milan, but it's the bus and the taxi that give it away. So places can be branded. So a place can be, a brand can be a country, it can be a city, it can be a neighbourhood, and it can even be an event. So in terms of where we are based in GCU London, we are based just around the corner on Brick Lane, which is a very key location on London's landmark. A lot of history is embedded in Huguenots who moved to that area. There's a lot of heritage involved in that. They were silk weavers. Over the years, other migrants have come in to the area and made the area their own. We have graffiti, a good number of graffiti within the area that liven up the area. When I leave work, I go to Liverpool Street Station on the tube to go home, and I will often pass tourists having a guided tour of the area. There's actually a graffiti tour of the area, so it's all very lively and vibrant. But the point is that brands can actually be a neighbourhood. And Brick Lane is very good at branding itself and promoting itself. So what's the point of a brand? It's part of marketing. It's part of promotion. The last item I've got is brands being an event. Glastonbury is branded. The Olympics are branded. A good number of events are branded. In terms of branding as a place, why would you want to promote your place as a brand? The challenge is, or the issue is, that we are increasingly operating in a globalized marketplace. If I go to a shopping area in Paris or in Milan or New York, I will see the same shops, like in this image. I will see H&M, The Gap, an Apple store, all these global brands, to the point that sometimes you kind of think, well, I may as well be in my own hometown because I have all of these retail stores within my own hometown. So In an increasing globalized marketplace in what we live in, where we can see the same brands in one country as in another country because they are global brands, people, councils, governments, in terms of promoting the places and basically promoting tourism, they see the need to differentiate and make their places stand out, to make people want to visit them. Like I said, the example with Brick Lane's, a lot of graffiti in that area. That has emerged naturally. Someone's not decided. That's an example of something emerging naturally, and then tourists have come to the area. But in other cases of the challenge where the retailers are all operating in the same place, that is a challenge for governments, councils to think about, how do we make ourselves distinct? So that's why place branding is very important. Academics who've written about place branding say there's three, or Cresswell in this case, talks about three elements. There's the actual location, the physical location, such as Brick Lane, or it can actually be a virtual location. But if we think in terms of the physical at the moment, there's the locale where something happens, where things take place. So, for example, again, an example in London, Oxford Street is where shopping takes place. Regent Street is where shopping takes place. Savile Row in London is where you shop for tailored goods. You go and get a suit from the Savile Row. You go and get measured for a suit in Savile Row. So that's what's referred to by Cresswell as a locale. And then we have a sense. A sense is a person's experience, their knowledge, their attachment to a place. For example, their place of birth. My place of birth is Liverpool. I feel a very strong attachment and I'm very loyal to Liverpool. A sense of a student, being a student at GCU London, and their sense of place of where GCU London is located in the East End of London, and their experience of that, going into the bars, going into the cafes, going into GCU London itself to learn, to attend their classes. So that's place in terms of a sense of place. Place is also knowledge. For example, Paris is it's acknowledged. Paris is the key fashion capital of the world. How do we get this sense of place? There's what we call brand touch points, creators in place branding. So, for example, the London policeman. This is him at a carnival, a London carnival, or a worker on the underground station. And so here we've kind of got distinctive uniforms. They're brand touch points where you and I come into contact with the brand in this case being London. So creators in place branding are very, very important. So again, looking at what academic work is doing. So what you can see, what I'm doing during this lecture is I'm talking about what's happening out there in real life, and then what the academics, how they're theorizing what is happening. So how do we get a sense of place? Alan talks about a pre-place experience. Before I'd ever visited New York, what my knowledge of New York was based on movies, what I'd seen. For example, Woody Allen's Manhattan and other movies, or celebrities who I knew had a strong association with a location. It could be word of mouth, people who visited the place and come back and said, New York is fantastic, you need to go there. And also knowledge that you've gained through the internet, through searches about it. So we have a pre-place experience. Again, if you're thinking of coming to GCU London, you will have that in your mind at the moment. What will it be like to be a student in London? How can I anticipate it? And then you actually have the place experience. So that could be where all the brand touch points are, the transport hub, the underground station, the railway station, the beautiful railway station at London St Pancras is, for example. The actual transport, I talked about taxis, the London Red Bus, the food, and friendliness, or dare I say it, unfriendliness, how conservative people within that place can be, or how friendly they actually are. How we experience it when we get to that place. And then we have the post-place experience. The memories, the memorabilia, things we may post on Instagram of our experience of the place, and word of mouth, what we tell other people, which then becomes pre-place experience for other people. They receive that word of mouth. This model is very important. So this is theory, but this model is very important from the marketer's point of view. When they're thinking about marketing a place, they need to think about all of those things. So there may be elements of a movie that they're putting within their marketing communications, picking up on elements. So what has this got to do with fashion? A number of places, capital cities, will link to fashion capitals. Associate themselves as being fashion capitals. And it's actually somebody called Gilbert who wrote a textbook in 2006 called Fashion Capitals. Okay, that was written a while ago, still has relevance. It's still a good book to get hold of. So how can a place be called a fashion capital? There's two ways in which it is thought of. There's something called the Global Language Monitor. It provides rankings of fashion capitals. What it does, it has its algorithms. It trawls through the internet, looking at big data. How many times is Paris associated with fashion through its algorithms, and then it comes up with a list of rankings of what is the current fashion capital of the world. And then you've got the historian Gilbert, who talks about fashion capitals defined by their history in terms of their creation, in terms of their production. For example, Paris is referred to as the home of haute couture. Milan is referred to as a place of manufacturing of luxury goods, high quality handcrafted goods, and has been since the Middle Ages. So again, thinking of all these things in terms from a marketing perspective, how marketers may use place to promote their fashion goods. And we've got examples of that coming up. So a number of companies build or embed place as part of their brand identity. You may not pick up on this, but when you have a look, next time you're looking through the web, looking at products, how many of them associate themselves with a place. So here's a classic one. Chanel number 5, we have Paris in it. It's very, very interesting. That is a very explicit use of embedding a place as part of a brand's identity. Sometimes it's implicit. For example, Burberry, the British brand Burberry, in their marketing communications, you will see images of Britain, of London, in the background, the use of models, for example, the Kate Moss, a very iconic British model used in marketing campaigns. Agnes Dane has been used by another British product, Dr. Martens. All helps with part of their marketing communications. So in terms of fashion and lifestyle, place is actually really, really important. You may not have thought about it before. You will do now. You'll see it everywhere in marketing, fashion and products. So just as brands such as Chanel embed themselves in place, places embed themselves in fashion as part of their identity and promote themselves around that. And a very good example of that is Carnaby Street, picking up on all the 1960s kind of fashion, and still, years later, 50 years later, is still selling itself and promoting itself on the tourist map as a place to go to for fashion. And indeed, in turn, fashion retailers want to be there. So they are located on Carnaby Street. So the whole thing kind of perpetuates itself. It's a cycle, and it's really quite fascinating. So the mini lecture takeaway: place branding has its roots in tourism. So a number of geographers, tourism academics have written a lot about place branding. Over the last decade or so, fashion academics, marketing academics have picked up on this and can see that place can have a key role in fashion and lifestyle marketing. And fashion, in turn, can play a key role in place branding, as I said, for example, Carnaby Street. Okay, that is my presentation, and I hope that you have enjoyed it. So thank you very much. I am not sure if you can hear me, but forgive me, I'm not sure if you're able to speak to me. But I'm very happy to take any questions from you, or if you use the chat area, type me any questions. Thank you.